Hello and welcome to you. Thank you for joining us as we take you around San Diego. I'm News 8's Jenny Day. I'll get you caught up on our top stories of the week so far, a fast-paced recap, and then we will also look ahead at what's to come around San Diego. We do begin with the latest from the primary election. County officials say Tuesday's election is trending higher than previous cycles, with hundreds of thousands of ballots still left to count. More than 503,000 votes have been counted already, with another 375,000 still to go. That puts turnout at roughly 41%, about 6 percentage points higher than the June 2022 primary. The Registrar of Voters says more results will be released over the next few days as more mail-in ballots come in and the signatures on them are verified. To see the latest election results, visit our website, cbs8.com. Been refreshing myself. Well, now to a disturbing criminal case, really. A man accused of murdering pregnant teenager Jariah Edwards is facing first-degree murder charges. 21-year-old Trayvon Williams pleaded not guilty to multiple counts, including attempted murder of his unborn baby. Prosecutors say Williams took a Lyft all the way from Arizona to San Diego, where Edwards and her family were staying in an Airbnb. He then allegedly used a DoorDash order to lure Edwards outside, then shot her in the head Saturday morning. Edwards was in the process of getting a restraining order against Williams, who had raised concerns with her family.
On and off relationship filled with domestic violence and threats of violence on the victim and her unborn baby by the defendant.
Doctors did deliver Edwards' baby by emergency C-section. She remains in critical condition. Now, if this baby dies, though, Williams may face another murder charge. Now to the manhunt. It is continuing for the man accused of killing his girlfriend and abducting their 5-year-old daughter. Authorities in Mexico still have that Amber Alert in place for 5-year-old Deliza Fergoso. Officials say the child is considered vulnerable and may be in danger. Los Angeles County prosecutors have charged her father, 40-year-old Ruben Fregoso, with murder and child abuse. Investigators believe that he took his daughter across the border into Baja California back on May 24th after leaving his SUV behind in a parking garage right there near the San Ysidro border. Fregoso could face 25 years to life in prison if convicted. Also, new developments now in that deadly attack on a man from Escondido, known for the American flags and signs supporting President Trump outside of his home. The DA upgraded the suspect's original attempted murder charge to murder after he died. A hearing this week was abruptly canceled, though, after 32-year-old Thomas Butler, the man accused of killing 69-year-old Carrie Sharon, refused to appear. Sharon's wife collapsed in the hallway in the Vista Courthouse, just sobbing after hearing that news.
Sure, you can understand her frustration after her husband was killed by this coward who's afraid to show his face and would rather be in jail than face justice.
Investigators say it does not appear the two men even knew each other, and they have not yet determined a motive. Now to an update on the pipe collapse in Tijuana. Since the pipe broke last Friday, the South Bay International Wastewater Treatment Plant has been handling flows far above its design capacity, peaking at more than 60 million gallons a day. The plant is built to treat 35 million gallons. Hydrogen sulfide levels in the Tijuana River Valley have now exceeded federal exposure limits. County health officials are urging people in the area to limit time outdoors and keep windows closed. People with asthma or other lung conditions should keep medication nearby. Officials in Mexico say repairs to the pipe could be finished, though, by the end of the week. Well, we are also getting a closer look inside that sophisticated drug tunnel found by federal authorities right near the Otay Mesa port of entry. Those federal authorities also seized over 1 ton of cocaine that's worth millions of dollars. News 8's Alex Cheney has more from the border.
Yeah, that's right. It was a really significant discovery. Agents found the exit to that drug tunnel just here at the Buy for Less. This is just steps away from the Otay Mesa port of entry.
Cocaine is now the lifeblood of the cartels.
After a 6-month investigation, the Homeland Security Task Force says they discovered the exit point of the drug tunnel inside a Buy for Less storefront near the Otay Mesa port of entry and seized 2,064 pounds of cocaine worth about $45 million.
For those defendants, they thought they saw a light at the end of the tunnel. In fact, what they saw were our lights in sirens.
Agents say the cross-border tunnel is about 1,933 feet long, 55 feet deep, and 4.5 feet in height, with reinforced walls, rail, and ventilation systems and electricity. Last Friday, May 29th, agents arrested 4 men as they tried to make the first delivery of drugs from the tunnel.
As they tried to move drugs in boxes, in bags, and in large freezers for distribution throughout our communities.
Border Patrol says the tunnel did not disrupt the Otay Mesa port of entry.
It was so sophisticated and it was down deep enough that there was no impact to our operations.
The 4 defendants are between the ages of 18 and 32. The men are facing charges of constructing an unauthorized tunnel and the importation and distribution of a controlled substance. The maximum penalty is life in prison and a $10 million fine. Federal authorities say this is a warning to anyone thinking about trying the same thing.
You see that partnership standing behind us? This is what partnerships do. The interdictions, the seizures, the defendants, it's all part of the story that San Diego takes this seriously.
Agents would not share how they got tipped off to the tunnel, but said it is in the process of being destroyed. Border Patrol also said this is their 99th discovery of a drug tunnel since 1993. I'm Alex Cheney.
Alex, thank you. Well, right now, the county has a new resource to help you meet new work requirements for CalFresh. The changes took effect this week and affect over 93,000 San Diegans. The county is partnering with 211 San Diego on a new website called Work Ready Hub. There you can learn about the new rules and find out how they impact you specifically. You can also connect with employment services and search for jobs. Still ahead, a major project meant to keep Oceanside Harbor safe is wrapping up. Plus, for the first time in nearly a decade, the number of unhoused individuals dropping here in California. We'll dig into what's working and what's still being missed. Welcome back. A judge has ruled that county public health officers can inspect the Otay Mesa Detention Center. This battle began earlier this year when the county says they received complaints about poor conditions. The county then sued Homeland Security and Core Civic, which operates the facility, after inspectors were not allowed inside in February. The county's chief medical officer did briefly get in, but was not allowed to speak with detainees. They are set to go back before June 17th. We'll keep you posted. And for the first time in nearly a decade, homelessness numbers did fall across the country, including here in California. News 8's Steffi Roche goes through the numbers to see what is working in our state, specifically in San Diego, and what the numbers might be missing.
The data from the Department of Housing and Urban Development, or HUD, comes from a federally mandated point-in-time count. According to the new report, nationwide, more than 745,000 people were reported homeless, a 3.3% drop from the year prior and the first improvement since 2016. California recorded a total unhoused population of just under 182,000 in 2025, an almost 3% decrease since 2024. Last month, San Diego's Regional Task Force on Homelessness released its own point-in-time count. The count, conducted in January, documented 5,108 people living unsheltered in the county, an 11% drop from last year. Drew Moser is the CEO of Lucky Duck Foundation, a local nonprofit focused on ending homelessness. He says this new data from HUD is, at least, a step in the right direction, but that it might not paint the most accurate picture of California's or San Diego County's homelessness crisis.
Year over year, San Diego took a step in the right direction, but it's also important to note that the point-in-time count is just one snapshot, one day in the life, or one day over a 12-month span. And when you look at, the past 2 or 3 or 4 years, homelessness continues to increase.
He doesn't feel the data is anything to celebrate.
What are we actually comparing here? Did we go from being down 25 points in a basketball game to now we're down 23? Or did we go from, we cut the lead from 5 points to 3 points? It's more like, we're losing by about 30 points here, and maybe now we're trailing by 28.
Different sources I looked into attributed the decrease in the national homeless population to a range of politicians and policies. For California specifically, some sources point to Governor Gavin Newsom's moves to crack down on homelessness, as well as $3.3 billion in voter-approved funding to increase housing and drug treatment programs. In Moser's perspective,
I don't have a very educated response for you on who to credit or who to blame, other than, we're, again, laser focused on those immediate pathways off the streets that are quick, that are cost effective, but that also help people address what's going on in here and in here.
Steffi Roche, News 8.
Steffi, thanks. Well, a major project meant to keep Oceanside Harbor safe and local beaches healthy is wrapping up just in time for summer. This year's dredging project pumped 320,000 cubic yards of sand onto the beach. Officials say the work is important because it keeps the harbor entrance clear, while also helping rebuild beaches impacted by erosion. Federal officials say crews removed sand that had built up over time, which created dangerous conditions for boats. Congressman Mike Levin also announced more than $8.2 million in federal funding for continued harbor maintenance. Coming up, a new travel option for San Diegans hitting the water, the new ferry route connecting downtown and the South Bay that could offer a better way to beat traffic. Well, ferries could be the new way people get around San Diego's waterfront. There's a new route connecting downtown San Diego to the South Bay. News 8's Vanessa Paz takes us on the move.
Why sit in gridlock when you can cruise across the San Diego Bay? A brand new ferry route is now giving San Diegans a new scenic way to travel between Chula Vista's waterfront and downtown San Diego.
Well, I think it'd be a great way to get, people that are down in Chula Vista, like more out on the bay, because sometimes it's hard to leave from here any other way.
Let's go!
Also, I think it'd be a great way to check out a Padres game, check out downtown, and see the city from, another angle.
The daily service launched Monday through Flagship Cruises and Events, the same company behind the popular Coronado Ferry. Boats now run between Safe Harbor Marina South Bay and 5th Avenue Landing downtown. The new South Bay route will also operate on a staggered schedule alongside the existing Coronado Ferry service, giving riders more flexibility when traveling across the bay.
Really, this new ferry route is all about connectivity and accessibility between Chula Vista's waterfront and downtown San Diego, and giving residents, convention goers, tourists the opportunity to really experience both cities, Chula Vista and downtown San Diego.
Flagship says the idea has been years in the making, and with summer events right around the corner, from Comic-Con to Padres games to concerts at the Rady Shell, timing couldn't be better for a car-free option on the water.
And the San Diego Bay is so unique, and giving the ability for Chula Vista residents to experience the water side like as San Diegans do, I think that would be a really good perspective on the bay. And I think it also just enhances waterfront mobility and giving riders the option to not drive and just experience a luxury trip on the bay.
The first ferry departs Chula Vista at 8 a.m. with service running every 2 hours through 7 p.m. For people who already make a living on the water, the hope is this new route will bring even more energy to the South Bay.
I think with the building of the new hotel and kind of some new things around here that it'll definitely bring a lot more people down here as well.
And the ride itself may be part of the draw, giving passengers front row views of some of San Diego's most iconic landmarks, like the Coronado Bridge and downtown skyline.
I think the more people that are coming to this area, the more they'll be kind of excited to check it out, come back, and do other activities as well.
One-way tickets cost $15, and crews recommend buying them on site before boarding. Rain or shine, the ferry is expected to keep running. And looking ahead, Flagship says if ridership continues to grow, expanding service could also be on the horizon. In Chula Vista, Vanessa Paz, News 8.
I'm excited to try it. V, thanks. Well, plans for a new ice skating facility in Escondido are moving forward. The Escondido City Council unanimously approved a memorandum of understanding between the Rink Foundation and the city to see if the site in Kit Carson Park would be feasible. It would be fully funded and constructed by the Rinks Foundation, which was founded by philanthropists and owners of the San Diego Gulls and Anaheim Ducks. So the next steps include community meetings to gather feedback. Coming up, a popular stretch of beach in Oceanside is vanishing. The city hopes to change that by building an artificial reef. We'll have that story in an Earth 8 report next. Welcome back. A stretch of beach along the Strand in Oceanside, south of the pier, has all but disappeared. And at high tide, there is simply no sand left to walk on. Now the city has a bold plan to fix it, and it's not just another sand dump that washes away with the next storm. Meteorologist Sean Stiles explains in this Earth 8 report.
As you look over my shoulder, you can see there's nothing but rock and very little beach behind me. Well, the city of Oceanside is hoping to change that here along the Strand by installing a reef offshore, bringing in a ton of sand, and hopefully taking down this sign.
In Oceanside, we have a really straight coastline. There's no coves or nooks. There's nothing like pocket beaches like you might see in...
Jamie Timberlake is the Coastal Zone Administrator for the city of Oceanside.
This is the terminus of the headland. So the reef will be, again, offshore and about maybe 600 feet that way. Okay. But the headland will be stopped here at Wisconsin.
She shared with me where the reef would be and how it was designed.
An artificial reef, 2 short artificial headlands that'll extend off the Strand here, and then about 900,000 cubic yards of beach nourishment or beach sand that we're bringing from an offshore source back onto the shoreline.
The project started in 2023 with an international design competition.
Something that was more innovative, something that's been tested in other parts of the world before we test it here in Oceanside.
In 2024, the city adopted the current plan and have been tweaking the design and modeling.
Oh, yes.
But the biggest step, it came when the scaled version was put into the wave basin at Oregon State University.
As soon as we get all the reports done for that phase of the modeling, then we'll be about 65 to 70% done with the design of the project.
Timberlake explains why Oceanside loses so much sand south of the pier.
So nothing really helps us retain the sand, and so that's the intent of the artificial reef and the 2 headlands. It's to slow down that sediment transport.
The combination of the headlands and reef will create sandbars and protect the sand on the beach.
Energy dissipation that we're having, it'll be right on the reef itself, and then that's going to create those localized currents that help keep the sand on the beach.
The reef will be in 15 to 20 feet of water, about 900 feet offshore, south of Tyson Park and north of Wisconsin Street. The shape kind of looks like a butterfly.
That reef shape is really how it's going to be more about bringing more surf amenity to the area and then also retaining that sand.
And of course, they will need permits.
So we need to get a permit from the Coastal Commission, from the Army Corps of Engineers, the Regional Water Quality Control Board. Then the list goes on. So the permitting phase does take a little bit of time. It takes about a year, maybe a year and a half.
As far as the cost, the city estimates $25 to $30 million for the 900,000 cubic yards of sand and $30 million for the construction.
The city has already applied for grants from the Division of Boating and Waterways, which is a state program, and then we are also applying for funds from the Climate Bond from Prop 4.
So if it all goes as planned, when could construction start?
If everything works out with permits and we get construction funding, we can have something that would be shovel ready by the very end of 2027, early 2028.
So as you look at the beach here, we're on the north side of the pier. This is what the city of Oceanside is hoping will happen on the south side on the Strand. And you can bet that I will be watching it very closely to see what that reef does. Sean Stiles, Earth 8.
Always good stuff there, Sean. Thank you. We'll take a look at this. $9 million. That's how much the famous La Jolla estate of late children's author Dr. Seuss was just sold for. Seuss, whose real name is Theodore Geisel, lived in the 5,000 square foot home with his wife, Audrey. He wrote about 42 of his 68 published books right there in that house here in San Diego. That includes The Cat in the Hat, Green Eggs and Ham. The property was donated actually to UC San Diego. He's got the library there on campus after Audrey Geisel's death back in 2018. It's neat to see that house. Parts of the house, including Seuss's studio, have been designated historic by the city and now must be preserved. So pretty cool that it's got a local tie right here and will be for years and years to come. All right, hey, that will do it for us. Thank you so much for your time as always. Thank you for staying informed. So important. For News 8, I'm Jenny Day. Take such good care as always. Go Padres.